Okay. Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. Namaskar, Shubho Shonda, and a warm welcome to Kolkata R useR Group's 10th virtual meetup. I am Shamrit, the lead organizer of Kolkata R useR Group, and by profession, a senior statistical modeler and art developer. So, our group is proud to be a diverse and inclusive community, welcoming individuals from all the backgrounds and industries. So, whether you are a student, researcher, or professional, or simple curious about statistics, data science, and obviously art, we invite you to join our sessions, ask questions, and learn from each other. If you missed out our previous sessions, do check out our YouTube channel. The recordings are available there. And do not forget to subscribe the channel and do follow us on LinkedIn to get the all the updates. So without further ado, let's welcome today's distinguished speaker, Saranjeet Kaur Bhokal, who will enlighten us on the topic of Let's Talk About Positron. Saranjeet is a research software engineer at Imperial College London. So over to you, Saranjeet. And thank you again our for joining this session as a guest speaker. Over to you.
Thank you, Samrit, and thank you, Kolkata R user group. I feel it's a huge privilege that I'm able to join you at this session today. I guess it's an odd time for people joining in India because it's evening and some people are
Mhm.
coming up work. But yeah, thank you so much for taking this time and attending this session. I hope you find something useful from this discussion. I have got two screens, so I'll be like looking sideways when I'm presenting, as just so that you don't feel odd about it. Um, can I just quickly check if I can share my screen?
Yes, let me stop sharing. Yeah.
Okay. And am I audible? Uh, Sorry, I'll
Yes,
just
yeah.
offline and then expand the screen. Okay. Yeah, okay. So is the screen okay? Do you want me
Yeah.
to change?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Let me know if something is blocking the view and then I'll move it around. So yeah, as again, thank you everyone for joining us, joining this session today. I'm Saranjeet. I am a research software engineer at Imperial College London. So I was born and brought up in India and then got this work opportunity. So I've moved to the UK to work as a research software engineer. So basically, a research software engineer is someone who helps researchers write efficient software, efficient code. As a part of my role, I use both R and Python. And when I was thinking of what talk to present at this meetup, I thought let's do a positron talk, and because this is a new tool in the town, some of you might have used it, some of you might be hearing this for the first time. So it's an opportunity to like delve into what this tool is, and if you have not tried it yet, try to understand if this is something useful for you or if you want to use other tools. So it's a very I feel it's a beginner friendly talk, but if there are sections where you need more clarification, please feel free to ask your questions either on the chat or maybe we could do a Q&A after the slides are done. It's not a very so you don't have to follow along when I'm presenting the talk. You can take your notes, but definitely ask your questions. Yeah, either on the chat or later on. So yeah, and this is my first meetup with Kolkata R user group. I have attended your previous sessions with other speakers, so it's been always a learning experience. Okay, so first of all, what is positron? And what is this tool about? And yeah, as I was saying, some of you might have heard about it. Some of you might wanted to try it, but haven't had the chance yet. So it's basically a next generation IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, and this IDE is specifically made for data science. So there are a number of IDEs in the market, but this one is very specific to data science and helps you in your data science journey, helps you to work more efficiently. So that's the goal. Um, it was available for beta testing for quite a while, so some of you might have tried it when it was available in testing, but recently it has moved to a more stable version. So there has been a stable release, which means it is kind of ready to be used in day-to-day work. So that's good news if for people who want to try out Positron. And specifically, so what it is really about, it's a fork of the open source project that builds VS Code. So VS Code is another IDE. If people have used it and if they are moving to Positron, they can see some familiarity with the structure and functionalities of VS Code. So it's essentially a fork of VS Code. Um, and due to this, being a fork, it gives a very strong base to Positron. And the team at Posit, which is building Positron, is shaping it specifically for data scientists. So VS Code is very popular with general software engineers as a IDE, but Positron as a IDE is specifically being developed for data scientists. So if you're a person, we're going to come to that, but it's specifically for using for data science projects. So it's modern. It's a stable IDE, and it's combining the best of the other IDEs available in market, so that things make more sense for a data science project. So who is the audience for Positron really? So this is basically who are you? So I'm assuming um, that most of you have been R users or have been long-term R users. You probably spend a lot of your time working in R Studio. Some of you may have also tried VS Code, Jupyter. So this talk is all about uh, where uh, where things will fit if you like where would Positron fit in all this number of options that we have. So if you have been a RStudio user and also a VS Code user, then think of Positron like a bridge. It will feel a bit familiar to RStudio users because of its layout, and it will also offer flexibility of IDs like VS Code. So we're going to delve into it and see how it looks and what kind of familiar things we can identify as our users or our studio users. So I would just stop there for a second and ask people in the audience, are you a R user? Are you a R Studio user? Have you used VS Code, Jupyter Notebook? So just drop into the chat which IDEs have you used previously? Is it R Studio, VS Code, Jupyter, or anything else? And I'll just bring up my chat over here. I hope it doesn't block. Okay. Okay, so some people, Kiran Deep says they have used VS Code, and Tobacco says they have used RStudio. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Abhiroop says they have been a RStudio user. Simon says RStudio and Jupyter Notebooks. Srijita, RStudio. Um, and Nitin, okay, so we have someone in the audience who says they use Positron VS Code predominantly now. I hope you have been enjoying the experience, Nitin, of using this tool. D says they have used RStudio. So that's great, Nitin. You've been enjoying it. Yeah, so yeah, if you have any thoughts, Nitin, feel free to share it when we do the Q&A. Okay, so Nathan says it's their go-to IDE for data science. Okay, perfect. So there are a lot of RStudio users in the chat. in the audience, and some have used VS Code, some have used Jupyter. So it's the kind of audience that I was thinking would be attending this session, which is great, which helps me with presenting the story of this talk. Okay, so ideology, it's a polyglot or a multilingual IDE. So that's the main idea behind developing Positron, that it's very beneficial when you're using when you're working in different languages altogether in your data science projects. So right now it does support both R and Python. And why this ideology is important, because unlike single language IDs, for example, MATLAB, where you could deal with only one language in that tool, and if you want to do something else, you will have to end up switching tools, and then that also essentially breaks the flow of your work. So if you want to work with something else, you want to come out of that IDE and then switch to a different tool. Sorry. Um, yeah, okay. I think we'll get to the chat in a bit, but quickly I'll note that in Tobacco, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, says that they had installed it a few months ago and found it a little tricky. The commands are similar, but locations are not easy to find. Yeah, so it has moved to a stable release now, so the user experience is much different. I'm not sure if somebody is saying something on the uh, video. Sorry. I hear some sounds. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, if you want to say something, please use the chat. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, in Tobacco, it's the user experience has I would say largely improved now since the past few months since they have had the stable release. So yeah, try it out now if you would like to. But yeah, okay, going back to a point, it's very useful when you're doing real world projects, because real world projects do involve a lot of languages. They're rarely in a single language. For example, you may be doing data analysis in R, and then you may want to build a machine learning model in Python. So in terms of real world projects, often require different programming languages. Having this kind of IDE or tool at hand is very efficient. So then let's move to why we would say that it's familiar. So I'll just put 2 points here. It's similar to RStudio, similar in the sense that the layout looks very similar to RStudio. You would see a console pane, a editor pane, a help plots, and the other thing is it's based on VS Code, the open source software on which VS Code is built. So in terms of users who have used RStudio and or VS Code in the past, this can feel very intuitive and familiar. So we're going to take a look at it in a small demo that I will share, and then we can try to map how this feels familiar to some of the editors that we have used previously or have been using. So this one, it's a fresh install of Positron that I did on my machine, and then when I opened it, this is how a new window appears. So on the left, there is a bar, a blue colored bar with several icons, and people using VS Code might be familiar with this kind of structure in VS Code, where you could open files, you could install extensions, and then several other, you could search things, and then you can sign up through your GitHub account as well. So there are those icons which are very, very similar to VS Code. But when you move to the right, there is a pane which says Positron and then open folder, new folder. This is also very similar to how when you open VS Code, you get the window pane. Then there is a console on the bottom. That console right now it's R, and there is terminal and then other tabs in the console. So when I do the demo, I'll share all these sections of the layout. Then on the far right, there is a section which is called as variables, and then another section which is called as plots. So this is somewhat similar to RStudio. When we do the example, I'll show you what appears there when you start doing certain analysis. So this is basically the layout of a new, like when you install Positron, a new window, how does it look? So it's a combination of what you would see in RStudio and what you see in VS Code. Now, these slides that I have prepared were prepared. So I wanted to try out Positron. So I thought, let me prepare these slides in Positron. So when I start working on it, I've been using Porto in Positron and prepared these slides in that tool. So now when I'm trying to create these slides, on the left, you can see the file explorer. There is like a folder called as intro positron, and then there is docs and then files in it. So this structure is, yeah, for people familiar with VS Code, this is a structure that you would see in VS Code. And then on the middle part of it, there is index.qmd and readme.md. The index.qmd is currently open, which is nothing but your Quarto file on which I was writing all my slides. And then in the terminal below it, I've run the code to like preview the slides. So when I do that, the slides preview in the rightmost panel, which is called the viewer, and then you can see the uh, rendered view of the slides on the rightmost panel. So this is how, when you start working on it, you will see elements of what you would see in RStudio, but then you will also see some elements that are coming from the that are inspired from how VS Code would work in this layout. Okay, so now we are almost there. We will be doing a very a demo of some data sets that I would like to show. So I'll quickly walk through it and then we can switch to Positron and then do it together. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, so the demo that we are going to do is with a data set which is very commonly used in R. It's called the iris dataset from the datasets package. And then we are going to see how to view the help file for iris. And then we are going to set it in a variable. We are going to view that data set and then and then we are going to notice some more specifics of that data set. So some more summary statistics and stuff. So that, and then we are also going to plot and see how it works. So this is something that most of data scientists would do. You have a data, you read the data, you explore the data, you would like to make some plots. So this is a very basic version of what you would do in an exploratory analysis exercise. And then we are going to try it with another data set called as air quality. So if you could give me a second, I'll switch to the positron window. Before that, if people have any questions now, I can take those questions. I'll also quickly check in the chat.
Hello, can this view maybe enlarged, please?
Okay, I can try that. Yeah, all right. Since it also has okay, yeah, all right. Is this any better? I didn't want to like zoom it too much because I'm not sharing on a wider screen, so.
Okay. No, it's not perfectly readable. No issue.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so this is the positron window that I have just opened. It currently has my slides on it. So what I was hoping to do is we are going to try some data analysis, very basic data analysis, so that you get an idea of when you try to do things on positron, how it looks, where things start appearing, and how do you feel about it. So we are not using any external data set. We're just going to use a built-in data set, which is iris. So I'm going to type here, let me see. Oops. Yeah, I'm not sure how I should be hiding this, but I should be. So let me just move it up there so that it's visible. Can you see the console now? I've put a question mark there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to type iris. It's a data set from the datasets package. And then in RStudio, if you want to see the help page, you would just do a question mark and then say iris or a double question mark, and then it goes to the specific page. Now, I have not really applied any customizations, but still when I start typing, it shows this pop-up and then I can select things from it. So I have not done anything. This is a very fresh install. So these are the defaults that come with Positron. Now let me press enter. This is very much like your RStudio. And I press enter, then on the rightmost panel over here, I see the help pane is open, and then you see the help page for Iris, and you can read through it. So this is kind of similar to the experience that you would have in RStudio. And you see the data set here. Now, since I'm using this default data set, let me just store it in a variable. So if I do data and I store iris in it, and then let's see what happens. So again, press enter. Okay, so when you do that, the variable gets stored in iris, but since the help pane is open, you don't see what has happened here. But if you go to the session pane, and then under variables, you would see that this variable has appeared and the name is data. So the name of the variable in which I've just stored things. If you click on it, click on this arrow, you would see the data columns present in the data set. And if you want to view it like how you would view a data frame in R, then there is this little icon here, this tabular icon. If you click on this icon, then you would see a tabular preview of the data set. So this is quite interesting. I found it quite interesting that they have provided all this functionality. So what happens is, if you click on that icon here, you get this tabular preview with the columns and rows. And this is very spreadsheet-like. For example, if you click on this number 4, then the entire row number 4 gets selected. If you click on the column, that gets selected. If you want to simply like copy, say, a few rows and columns, so specific rows and columns, then I'm just using, I clicked on one of the cells and then I pressed shift and then the arrow buttons, and then I can select values and then paste them. Say if you want to transfer them over to Google Sheets or Excel or whatever, you could also do that. So this is about the table view, which is very much like a spreadsheet. And then you can also see beneath every column name, they have the data type. So sepal length is double, and then sepal width. So most of the columns are of the type double. And then over here, they have those three dots, which are useful for applying temporary filtering to the data set. So you could sort it in ascending order, descending order, select a particular column, or even add your own filters. So I'll come to this part a bit when I shift to the other side. So this is about the spreadsheet-like data frame view, which I feel is helpful when you're doing data analysis or when you're just starting with a data science project and you want to get an idea of what your data looks like. So this is quite quick. And then on the left side of this data frame, you get a kind of a summary statistic of the data itself, so all the columns. So if I hover over here on the first column name, it tells me what is the data type of this column, and then there is a histogram, kind of a distribution of that column to give an idea of how it is distributed. And then over here there is like this little bar with 0%, which tells if there are any missing values. So right now in this column, there are no missing values. So this bar is at 0%. Now let me just open up this first column. And you can see that once I open it up, I get some more summary statistics. So when you are just starting out with a data science project and you want to explore the data, I think this kind of summary is very helpful to give you a high level picture of what that particular column, um, the values of the particular columns are, if there are any missing values, the range of that data set, and some more summary statistics like mean, max, standard deviation. So you can get all this for all the columns. You get it like you haven't done any analysis code yet, but still you get all these values. So this gives a nice overview of what your data set really looks like. So this is very essential. This is very useful when you're just starting out with a project. Now, just besides that, there is this button called as add filter. So if you click on it, then you can add your own filters temporarily to the data set. For example, you can select any particular column. Let me select sepal width, and then you can select a few conditions. Now in this, there are no null values, so I'll just skip that, and then I'll say greater than. So let's say greater than, so that particular column, and I will say, let's say it's greater than 4, and then apply the filter. So it will filter out all the values temporarily which are greater than 4 for sepal width column, and then it will also automatically apply that filtering to all other rows in that satisfy the condition where sepal width is greater than 4. So you can apply these kind of filterings, and then over here, I think we did that. Add filter, yeah. So that's about it. That's about the filtering. Let me just quickly see if I wanted to share something else here. Yeah, okay. And then this is about your data. Now, the other thing that we would like to do when we are doing analysis is to draw some plots. So I'm going to go back to the console and then use the plot function, and then let me just plot, let's say, let me just plot two of the columns. So let's say sepal length and say sepal width. So when I do this and press enter, a plot should appear, and this plot appears in this lower right pane. And then you can always, like, there are also some adjustments that you could do to this plot. For example, you can change the theme, get a dark theme, or if you're using a different theme, you can change that theme. So the plots would appear in this pane, and then if you want to clear it up, you can just clean it up from there. So that's about the plots. So this is a basic idea of a data set when you're loading it, how you can view different components of it, and what kind of functionalities come in by default in Positron, which I find are very helpful. So this data set was very, it was a toy example. Let's try a different data set where we can view some more functionalities of or we can see how it affects what is what is appearing in the data explorer. Okay, so let me try the air quality data. Again, this is a data set that is preloaded with R. So let me just type air quality. Before that, any questions? Sorry. Are there any questions that people have?
In chat, there is one question from Ovidu.
And when would Python be? Okay, in what scenarios would you prefer to use R inside Positron, and when would Python be more suitable? So this is a question by Abhiroop. They say that in what scenarios would you prefer R versus when would Python be more suitable? Again, this solely depends on the project. If your project is expecting, like I was saying, so some project was expecting you to do data analysis in R, you could do that part. And then if another part of your project expects you to build some model, which the project is expecting you to build in Python, then you would use Python. So uh, it's it's not one or the other. It really depends on the use case and what you and your team is expecting you to uh, and your project is expecting you to build. So it would really be defined by on a case by case basis and no hard and fast rule over there. Um, and Tobacco says, can you please also touch on packages? That was the most unfamiliar section for me, seeing what was there and how I could check. Unfortunately, we're not going to go up till packages. My aim was this was a very with this talk is a very introductory um, type of session where you get to know what are the different components and how you could use them. But unfortunately, I'm not going to touch on packages. But that's a good topic. Maybe next time, or if you have explored something, I would be happy to hear your thoughts on it. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, I have a question. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, concerning the packages, if you apply, install the packages, for example, Tidyverse, won't that work to install the package?
Sorry, could you please repeat that?
So I'm asking if we want to install a package and we type install the packages on the console, will that not
Yeah.
work to install a package?
Are you saying no,
Yes.
we want to try installing packages? We can try that. It should work fine. So it's very similar to how you would do it in RStudio. So you just do install.packages tidyverse and it should install that package for you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of how you were using R in RStudio, you would still use it the same way. It's the same function, so you don't have to worry about learning new things. In fact, it's kind of combining what you already know with some more flexibility and features to give a better user experience. Yeah, so you could do that the way you would do it in R. Um, um, Okay, so let's move to the other data set just to show you how some features can be become more visible when you're using Positron. So let's try to load the other data set, which is air quality. So data to air quality, again, this comes from the datasets package. So I'll load it here, press enter. And then when I click on this on the variables pane, top right, you can see the data has been loaded, the several columns that are loaded in that data set. And if I click on this data frame view, we'll see the spreadsheet like view again. So on this variable pane, you can see the different columns. Again, the data type is visible with every column name. And now this data set is interesting because it has got some NA values. This row number 10, the first column, and then row number 11, the second column, and then many more. So if you go on the summary visual image on the left, you can see that this percentage bar has 24% now. In the iris dataset, it was 0%. So 24% missing values from the 37 values that are available. So this percentage bar has increased a bit to show that 24% values are missing. So this is a good indicator, especially with your data science projects when you want to apply some say you want to drop NAs or you want to apply some imputation on the NA values. This is a good indicator for you to tell that, okay, this column has NAs and it might affect the computations you do. So and since it appears very early, as soon as you load it, you can see it right there. It often helps you save a lot of time in your data analysis. Similarly, for the solar .r column, you can see there are 4% missing values, which is, I think, did I say 30, 37? No, yeah. So yeah, there are 4% missing values, which are like 7 values are missing from that column, and so on. So this is a different data set where you could see the advantage of using or advantage of seeing that summary view on the left of your data set. And then you also get kind of a distribution of the values in those columns. For example, the wind data is a bit more symmetrical, whereas there is a lot more skew in the ozone and the solar data, whereas this month data, so now this appears like a flat histogram or chart. So we can move to the month column and see why is that happening. So if we do that, we realize that there is only 1 or 2 months data in it, and that's why you get a kind of a flat chart for the values. And then yeah, I guess so. This is about the air quality data. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my slides, but if there are some questions here, I can take them. My data summary sheet doesn't show some details like yours. Example, the plot of the distribution and summary. Okay, interesting. Simon, we can, like, once we're done with the slides, we can take a look at what you see on your end. Make sure that none of the panes were not minimized. For example, it's always possible, if you see here, I can always like minimize the plots pane and then I don't see the plots. So make sure that that was not minimized by chance. And summary distribution, again, the summary distribution that I was talking about, it's also possible to like remove this pane from here, I guess. Yeah, so you could do that and then it doesn't appear, I think. But we can take a look. I don't want to comment without seeing what's happening there. How might the always visible console in Positron improve workflows when experimenting with iterative algorithms? There are different modes. Abhirup, this is a question by Abhirup. There are different modes. I think I was reading something about the Zen mode, and then it enters like it when you enter that mode. I can minimize my screen and I can show that again, but then it will like declutter all the stuff that you see immediately, and then you can just focus on your code. So that's possible. You can have a different mode where you're not distracted by so much information that's present all around. That's also possible. And then you can always maximize and minimize panes which you want to appear, which the panes that you want to appear in full screen. So that's possible. Okay. Then let me go back to the slides. If there are more questions, we can take them as we proceed. But that was the demo I wanted to show, and then it's almost at the end of the session. I would really like to thank Julia Silgays, a very recent talk by her at useR 2025's virtual session. It's available on YouTube, so it's called A First Look at Positron. And if you want to get into details of what all Posit is planning and what is happening and what the future of this tool looks like, what is the inspiration, you can watch her talk. It's a short talk, but yeah, it's quite interesting one. In terms of resources, I found the Positron website very helpful. They have guides and getting started pages, which you can go if you are a RStudio user, there is content for you if you want to install stuff. And then if you are a VS Code user, there is also some content for you. There is also one more thing which is called Positron Assistant. I have not installed it as per the instructions given, but I did try checking what it does. So let me show you where it appears. Again, if you go on the Positron website, you can get more details of how you can install Positron Assistant. So this is like a small robot over here which says chat. It doesn't appear by default. You have to do like some steps to just set it up, which is available in the documentation. So if you are interested in exploring this, it's also a nice option. It has been described in some details in Julia's talk that I was referring earlier. So you could go and explore this chat option. It does provide like three ways of using: in agent mode, in ask mode, in edit mode. So if I've not tried it much, like I've not really set it up for this session, but if people are interested, it's available and you can try it. And then Positron also has their own GitHub repository. This project is being built in the open. So you could go there and like see how they are building stuff. It's also a very good exercise if you would like to learn how things are built in the open source. So there are discussions that you could follow on that repository, or just in general if you want to see how developers work on open source projects of this scale. So it's a good exercise, just observing and noticing how people are developing things. These slides, as I mentioned previously, these slides are made using Quarto and in Positron. So when you install Positron, I use the Quarto extension and then basically just build the slide in Positron. Yeah, so if you would like to learn more, refer the Positron website for the latest updates. The link to this talks, that's the link. It's available on my GitHub repo. And then if you wanted to discuss anything, you can always write to me on my email address. But yeah, that's it. Thank you. And I'm open to questions now.
Yeah, thank you, Saranjeet, for your lovely session. We have learned about Positron IDE. I have used this Positron, uh, not that extensive level, but yeah, for some few tasks, some very basic data analysis. But yeah, overall, it's a very good IDE for both Python and R, because we can interchange R and Python here. So that is a good actually for data science as well. So yeah, thank you for this session. And yes, is there any other question?
Oh yes, when you said about interpreters, I missed. I'm not
Yes,
sure if
there
you
is.
want to still record
Yeah.
the Q.
So, sorry.
Sorry. Do you still want to record the Q&A? I'm not sure
Yeah.
because people get.
Okay. Yeah. I can stop. Okay. Then, if there is no more question, we can wrap up this session. Yeah. I think. Okay. Then there is no more question. Yeah. Thank you once again, Sharanjit, for this wonderful session. We look forward to working with you, collaborating with you again. And on that note, I would like to announce that our next meetup session will be scheduled on 13th of September. So till then, take care, keep learning and keep shining. Yeah. Bye.